Today we're going to be talking to Todd Belfer, the managing partner of Morning Squeeze. Todd, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks, Miranda.
Yeah, happy to have you. And I'm really excited to have someone in the restaurant industry featured on the podcast. So that's really exciting.
Well, thanks for having me. We Morning Squeeze. I don't think this is our first podcast. I think so. We're excited to tell our story in the podcast format.
Yeah. Well, let's just figure out what your story is. What is the story so far? How did you guys come about?
Well, Morning Squeeze was developed by a friend of mine who was a partner of mine at Raw Sushi, and he developed the concept about 6 years ago and opened it, ran it for about a year, and then he called me and he goes, I really don't want to do this breakfast thing. It's not for me. I'm really busy doing other stuff. Will you be interested in buying the concept? And I said, yeah, let me look at it. I looked at it, and my dad really wanted to own his own breakfast place. He wanted a place that he could go and hang out with his buddies and eat. But when I looked at it, the menu was like a Stage Deli or Carnegie Deli size menu. Mm-hmm. So there was like 150 items on the menu. I'm like, this is crazy. So we ended up buying the concept, redoing the menu, and kind of retooling what Morning Squeeze is about. And I think today what we're left with is really the retro, trendy, kind of hip place to have breakfast, weekend brunch, a fun, relaxed atmosphere. It's not a corporate environment. Everyone's family at Morning Squeeze, and we try to treat our customers and our employees the same, like we're all family.
Yeah, and now you have 3 locations?
Yep, our third one opens in a couple weeks, downtown Phoenix, Street in Washington. So hopefully you'll get to come visit our new location down there.
Yeah, I've actually been to a couple of your locations, and I distinctly remember loving your orange juice.
Yeah, we have fresh orange juice and the name Morning Squeeze.
Yeah.
Our original location is in town Scottsdale on 1st and Scottsdale Road, and then we got Mill Avenue and 6th, right on the corner there of Mill and 6th. And then the next one will be on 1st and Washington.
That's awesome. You're covering your bases in all 3 of the areas that I go, so we're good.
Good.
So, I'd love to just dive in a little further. Your buddy called you, and all of a sudden it was, okay, now, breakfast. Was that something that you had really considered getting into within that industry? Or was this just kind of an opportunity that was too good to pass up?
I think it was a unique opportunity. The location, I think the potential that he wasn't capitalizing on. And then obviously having my dear old dad wanting to own a breakfast place. So I think the combination of all those things, and of course, I can't just own one thing and enjoy it. I got to expand it. So, after a few years of owning Morning Squeeze and kind of tooling the concept and streamlining the menu, we decided to open Tempe, ran that for a couple of years, and now we're opening downtown Phoenix.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. And I do love that you mentioned that you were slimming down the menu, because frankly, when I go and I'm usually having brunch with my friends, and when there's pages upon pages of trying to figure out what to get, you never know, and you never can figure out exactly what you like, because you feel like you're missing out on maybe 30 different things. And then there's just this paralyzing anxiety of like, what should I order? Limited options that are really good is the best way to go.
Right. Yeah. So we got, like the 10 great items that we are kind of known for at Morning Squeeze. We're definitely known for our Bennies, Benedicts. We have like a Southern Benedict with like a spicy fried chicken. We got a salmon Benedict that is kind of like won awards out there. And, we're creative on our Benedicts, but we also have like the last month was the Fruity Pebbles French Toast. This month is the bourbon sort of orange fresh French toast. We sort of reinvented the protein pancake to become like this healthy, really tasty pancake with all natural ingredients, no white flour. So, we try to bring that healthy option, but also the indulgence of your typical breakfast place where you can, feel like you're getting a great meal and enjoying it, but also having mimosas and Bloody Marys with your friends and and enjoying the music and the company.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like you've been involved in many different kind of restaurant concepts. I mean, I'd love to take a step further back into your journey and how you got into the industry.
I actually got into it by accident. I was just a passive investor in an Mediterranean Italian concept called Zanzibar in the mid 90s. White tablecloth. It's where the original raw sushi is there on Scottsdale Road, just south of Indian School. And it didn't do well. After 9 months, we closed it down. And I'm sitting around with my partners one night and saying, should we just try to sell the lease and recoup some money, or should we open a new concept? And we went out one night and went to Kyoto's for dinner and decided, you know what, let's do a rock and roll sushi bar. Let's do a rock and roll sushi bar and sort of Americanize what has been around for a long time, which is more the traditional Japanese sushi bars. So we sort of brought the American twist to it with rock and roll, having American or really Caucasian / non-Japanese sushi, sushi chefs. But more than that, it's like nobody was doing it. Everyone said, well, you have to have Japanese or Asian people working in the restaurant. You have to have Asian sushi chefs. You have to keep the music down. It's more traditional. And we just kind of blew all the traditional, theories on what works in that sector. And it was success, sort of the first store. And then we sold that in 2002 to Benihana. And they took it from just really an Arizona-based concept nationwide. And I don't know how many stores there are today, probably around 30, 20 to 30 locations now nationwide.
And now you have Morning Squeeze. And I mean, would you consider opening another concept? I mean, it seems like you've, taken concepts, you elevate it, and, they take off and they've been successful. I mean, is there anything else that you're kind of curious about?
Not really. I mean, I got a full-time job here at Canal Partners, being a venture capitalist in the software technology world, which I love. But the restaurants are a passion of mine. I love the creative part of it. I love the culinary part of it. And then I love the people part of it. I love my partner, Jaren. She's just an amazing woman who inspires me and her staff on a daily basis. And, watching her and the magic that she produces out there in the market is just really, it gives me goosebumps to think about. Because, I always dream about having a partner and a leader like Jaren. And they don't come along very often. But when they do, you need to capitalize on their skills and really grow the concept and maximize the potential of the concept. And I think that's what we have here with Morning Squeeze and Jaren. Our long-term goal is to be a 20-store chain, primarily focused in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Snooze did it nationwide. And we feel we have a better product and a better concept that's out there today. And we feel, even though we're going slow and we're methodical about our growth, we feel that it's something that nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's kind of comforting when you're in one location and you can go to another location and the same good food and same place you walk in, similar experiences. There's definitely a level of comfort to that.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So, I mean, with that concept build out, would it be, still kind of with the group that you're in, or would it be kind of like a franchisee with like franchise owners? I mean, how does that vision look?
Right now we haven't decided to license or franchise. Right now we're just going to own everything ourselves, so we can keep more control on it and keep the creative and consistent part of the business intact. Long term, we might franchise or license, but that's down the road a ways.
Yeah.
We have people all the time that say, "Hey, I'm from Kansas City. I'd love for you to open one there. I'm from city. Would you be interested in opening one there?" And they're all interested in either franchise or partnership type agreements. So I don't know where we go next. Maybe Texas. We're talking to a good friend of mine who's in Dallas, Fort Worth, and he loves the concept and talks about it every time I talk to him. And he would love to open one there. And he's a builder. a home builder and an entrepreneur there. So that's something we're considering probably in the next year or two. But right now, our heads down just to get Old Town, Scottsdale, Old Town, Tempe, and the downtown Phoenix location up and running this year, and hire the best staff we can who care about the concept, care about what they're doing, and the food and the customer service, and continue to grow. It's our employees are not just there for a paycheck; they're there because it is a way of life, and it's one big family. And you can see that when you walk in the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. And I mean, truly impressive to maintain that level of culture and morale within the business, even at a point where, restaurants are kind of on the decline right now and people are just now starting to feel comfortable going back out. And, being able to do that is just really impressive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely challenging. And obviously, the restaurant business is one of the highest employee turnover businesses there is. So to create some stability in your workforce and to have that affinity to want to go to work and refer your friends and family as coworkers is quite an attribute to what Morning Squeeze has and what kind of culture she's built there in the company.
Yeah, I mean, what does that culture look like? Because it has to be, intentional to have now going in 3 locations with kind of like a thought and a goal. I mean, what are some of the things that have gone into creating that?
Well, we try to have their input into how we develop and evolve the concept. So, we have a lot of vibrant colors as part of the concept. We have sayings on shirts and other materials that are part of the concept. And a lot of these come from customers and employees as well. The new concept, we hired a local artist from the downtown area to do the murals and some of the artwork in the new restaurant. So we try to bring that local environment into the new restaurant. So it's not a corporate, just stamp your footprint on it. And it's like just the same everywhere. We don't want to be that cookie cutter, same exact concept, same exact, how you greet your customer, how you greet, how do you say goodbye to the table, all that. We want to be unique in the sense that we want to have our own identity, and we want each store to have their own identity as well. So bring in the local clientele to help shape the concept, as well as the employees is really important for us. And then just, making sure the employees gel with each other. It's things like going out, bowling, going out to happy hour, not taking ourselves too seriously, trying to have that teamwork within the environment, within the 4 walls of the restaurant. I see too many restaurants and GMs out there that really just take it too seriously and they don't have fun, and you can feel it. You can feel like the fabric of the stress in the restaurant. And we don't want to have that. We want to walk in and I want the bartender and the cooks and the server and the busboy all to be smiling, having fun and enjoying themselves. And when they're not, I want them to say something and feel safe and be able to express themselves to the point where we can have a discussion, and not feel like they can't talk to their manager or their supervisor. As much as you try not to go corporate, you got to have some consistency and procedures in place as you grow a concept, but just try to keep that individuality and creativity of, the people that kind of made the concept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's so important to be able to create that foundation of trust and communication and, really building and playing on each other's strengths and empowering them to do what they do best, within the network of businesses and restaurants that you have.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a great business. I absolutely love it. I go there to one of the stores at least 4 or 5 times a week. I'm always seeing friends and business associates there, and it's just a fun, relaxed environment. It's just a lot of fun. The price point, everyone can afford it. It's not one of those restaurants where it's $50, $75 a person.
Yeah.
It's a very affordable check average, and there's something for everyone. There's something for kids, something for vegan, something for gluten-free. I mean, we have a very diverse menu that kind of supplies, the top of the line quality and and items, breakfast and lunch items, to really whatever your needs are.
Mm-hmm.
We've been sort of we have had a gluten-free type menu and a vegan type menu options for some time now. I mean, now it's becoming more popular and you see it sort of everywhere, but we've had vegan and gluten-free options for a long time now. And we have a lot of folks in that category that have been regulars at our restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense being able to cater to a group that, might not have as many options. I mean, when they can look at a menu and see something like, I can eat that, that's really exciting.
Right. Yeah. So, we're trying to adapt and run with kind of what the customer wants.
Mm-hmm.
Vegan and gluten-free was not something that was really on people's minds 10 years ago, and today it is. So
Yeah.
we'll just keep running with what our audience tells us they like and want, and try to stay true to who we are.
So on the note of what the customer likes and wants, I mean, and this is kind of a silly question, but selfies and taking pictures of food and making restaurants appealing for that picture perfect moment. I mean, how much thought goes into that when you're kind of designing the concept or when you're picking out items for the menu? I mean, that's just personal curiosity. How top of mind is that?
A lot more than it used to be, that's for sure. Like when we're designing these restaurants, one of the first things we say to ourselves is, where's the Instagrammable photo? Where's the Instagrammable shot? And we have one in Old Town. We have one in Tempe with the Love and Touch and Squeezing neon. And then I won't break the surprise, but in downtown Phoenix, we have a definitely a very photographic type of place in the restaurant where everyone's going to want to go and take their photo. So clearly on the design piece, there's that comes into play for sure. On the food side, there's no doubt. I remember when we had pictures of our food and the restaurants. I don't know. This is probably going back 3 or 4 years, and I would look at it. I'm like, I wouldn't eat there. There's nothing exciting about the food or the interior. And now I think when you look at our Instagram page, it's like, wow, this is like art. And I can't tell you how many times I see people before they take their first bite, they're lining up their plate to take that picture. And it's almost like a cult following of people that want to put food on their Instagram page. It's like so important these days. And it's just, it's something we take a lot of pride in. If our food came out and it was looking like a national chains food where it's, edible, but certainly not art, that's one thing. But we want to go around and make sure that food is like literally picture perfect, almost like you're like OCD, like you're not going to take that picture unless it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking back when I went for one of my friends' birthdays, we actually had brunch at Morning Squeeze, and that was the first thing that they were doing was taking pictures. There was a group photo and a picture of everything that we had ordered, and that was just kind of the thing that happened.
Right. Yeah, that happens all the time, so it's, it's the food for sure, but also the drinks. We have pretty unique mimosa options out there with the flights and the different flavors and colors of the mimosas. So we like to constantly refresh the drink menu and what we're doing on the Bloody Mary side and the mimosa side to try to stay current. And we're kind of always looking what's out there, what's available, whether it's on the web or other cities that are doing some creative new things.
Yeah, I mean, I think signature drinks, being able to have that, looks good and tastes good is obviously going to be what drives someone to order it.
Yeah.
So one thing that we haven't quite covered yet is kind of the Canal Partner aspect within Morning Squeeze. How do those two pieces of the puzzle fit together?
They really don't. I mean, they really don't. This is not a Canal Partners portfolio company or related company or an investment, but we do cross over quite a bit in the sense that like Canal Partners has, well, they used to before COVID, we would have a monthly social with our investors and CEOs and executives from all the tech companies in the Valley. We would have a 1 month breakfast meetup. That was always a Morning Squeeze, whether it was in Tempe or Scottsdale. and then we'll start doing it downtown Phoenix. But we'd have 50, 75 people once a month show up at these breakfast meetups to kind of network and mix with the local leaders and C-level people at the local tech community. We do a lot of catering. I'm an industrious here at Canal Partners. Morning Squeeze caters here once a week now. We just had that agreement. So it seems like there's always a tie-in. I would say on any given day during the week, I'll see 4 or 5 CEOs of local tech companies. And it just becomes, originally when I wanted to create this concept from what it was to what it is now, I saw this like little miniature tech hub where Morning Squeeze can be in like 4 or 5 different places in the valley, and we're like this little, ecosystem of tech. And I see that. This morning I saw a big enterprise software guy there. Chris from Trainual's there all the time. Hamid's there from AZ Tech, and it's a great networking piece, especially before COVID, because now with technology and the internet, it's pretty easy to stay connected without face-to-face. I'm old school. Like, I like to see people, shake their hand, look them in the eye, and network that way. Probably not as efficient and probably is not as, time worthy. But to me, it's more important. It means a deeper relationship. It's more meaningful. And I still like to meet people.
I think you went on mute. There we go. But being able to go network, meet with people, and I think it's so interesting that you're tying in the networking and tech component within the restaurant industry, because truly having a space to meet and have a face-to-face conversation. I mean, breakfast is, in my opinion, the easiest meal to have with someone.
It is. It's easy to schedule. It's one of those meals where you're either going to do breakfast or lunch typically out, and it's just a way to network and get out. And I think with everyone being sort of kind of cobbled up in their house for the last year and isolated, I think it's one of those things where we're going to want to get out and do breakfast and do lunch and start seeing people again, because I think we're having Zoom fatigue, which you probably hear that word a lot. And it's like, okay, I'm on Zoom all day long. I would love to sit around the table with some friends or some business partners of mine and actually have an hour and a half meeting and just visit, and a lot of times it's not even business. How you been? How you getting through this? What are you doing? Just really have like a meaningful conversation and relationship to where it's not all Zoom and all business, So I think the business aspect of breakfast will come back stronger, especially after summer. I mean, now we're seeing all the snowbirds here, but I think after summer and after COVID, all the COVID restrictions are gone. I think we're going to see a flurry of business breakfast and lunch meetings popping up. I mean, I already see that on my calendar. There's a lot of requests for breakfast and lunch meetings where really for the last year it hasn't existed.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, the thing is you can, sit across from someone for breakfast and you can keep drinking coffee. If you're doing that at dinner with cocktails, it's probably going to go south pretty fast.
Yeah. No, it's, obviously that's fun too, going to dinner and having cocktails with folks. But, breakfast and lunch is something you're out usually anyway. Even people that are working virtual. I have a lot of friends that are now virtual indefinitely. Even some of our companies at Canal Partners are virtual indefinitely. So they still want to get out, still want to get out. They don't want to stay in their house all day long. They want to get out. They want to dress up. They want to go eat. I have a son who's at ASU and he's been online for this last year. He literally sometimes just gets in his car and drives to my house as just an outing, just to get out and do something, instead of being cooped up in his house all day long. So I just think we got fatigue, COVID fatigue, Zoom fatigue. And it's like, hey, let's get out, let's see people, let's talk to people. And I love that morning squeeze. We're doing business. I mean, I come around all the tables and say, people are doing commerce, they're doing business, they are growing, they're excelling in their careers and their businesses. And we're just a part of that. We're just like the setting for some great things happening in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, you hit the nail on the head where, business is being done. And a lot of times it's from across the table. Breaking bread with a business partner is one of the, true tells, can you trust someone? Can I trust you enough to have you watch me eat pancakes, however that may or may not be successful?
Yeah. I mean, it's that, like that book Blank, I typically know within the first 5 or 10 minutes, if I want to learn more and if it's interesting enough to continue the relationship to see if there's some business to do. But if I'm not sitting across that person, I'm not sure I can notice that or pick up on that certainly as quickly on Zoom. But meeting with someone, looking at some of the tales and some of the body language and the nervousness, I think it's easier to get to know someone, break down some walls and become more real than it is on Zoom. I know on Zoom, I'm definitely more reserved and conservative than I am in person, where I just let loose and I am, and I think you'll see more of that as people, I think, want more excitement in their life and want more real relationships.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just kind of, thinking, I'm like, you're probably really good at reading people, being able to go to different tables, being able to assess situations with body language. If it's someone's first time meeting, first business deal, I mean, you've got to have developed that skill.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I developed that skill earlier in life, just being a competitive tennis player and really trying to read other people's body language and emotions to try to get an advantage. But, I think it's just being real, honest, and transparent, and speaking from the heart and speaking the truth. Because when I ask people, what do they think their item or the experience or morning squeeze, and I kind of get the standard answer, I'll be like, okay, that's great if you're on a TV show. Give me the real answer. You didn't eat any of your pancakes. What's wrong with them? Because the only way we're going to get better is if we get honest feedback and honest, criticism. So, it's nice to get the approval from your friends or customers, but we want honest feedback so we can become better and push the envelope of who Morning Squeeze is.
Yeah. And I mean, and on the note of honest feedback, I mean, truly, it's been hard for so many businesses to be able to, stay in business. Are there any kind of key points that you think restaurants should keep top of mind in order to, stay afloat?
I had this conversation with Jaron like 6 months ago, and I said, during this pandemic, and especially when we were closed, the better restaurants are going to come out stronger. And the way we do that is people taking the off time to retool on, like, where's our shortcomings? How can we get better? How can we improve on the food side, the people side, the customer service side, and get rid of the people that aren't A players within the group? And I think we did that at Morning Squeeze. A lot of restaurants, especially the smaller chains, probably didn't take advantage of the shutdown and the stay-at-home order as much as some, because they just looked at it as a vacation. We looked at, like, how can we get better? So we greatly improved our to-go experience, signed up for many more third-party delivery services, improved our catering. So we took the time off to try to improve on who we are, signed a new lease, and then get ready to open here in the next couple of weeks. So I think it was an opportunity to kind of find more of your identity and hire better people and try to become the best possible, brand or concept that you can.
Yeah. I mean, there's always work to be done if you look for it.
Yeah. There's always opportunity. So when everything's going great and there's record numbers and everyone's out spending money and there is no pandemic or recession or, fear out there, it sort of makes it look easy, and it's easy to rest on your laurels. But when there's pain and fear and worry, that's when kind of the strong get stronger and survive. And, sometimes the weak or the fearful close down or, don't make it. So.
Well, I'd love to just kind of close out with 2 questions. So one, what is the must order on the menu?
Well, I've been trying to eat a little bit more healthy lately, but I think the must order has got to be a Benedict. You know, if you like Benedict, uh, I would order one of the Benedicts. You know, I like the salmon. I love the salmon, but traditional is great. You know, the southern fried chicken one is phenomenal. And also on the weekends, I kind of treat myself to some more carbs. I do the protein pancake with peanut butter in it,
Oh,
and that's kind of one of my favorites. But what I hear from the must-have, the Hangover Bowl is like, you know, I mean, it's kind of like famous, the Hangover Bowl, with the pork green chili. It's just very flavorful, and the breakfast burrito is probably a must-have. I go every Saturday after Core Power Yoga, which is the shirt I'm wearing, and
yeah.
partnership with Core Power at all their stores. I take a group of people from yoga over to the restaurant. I always look and see what everyone's getting. And I think the breakfast burrito is by far the most popular. And, I look and see how people eat it. Sometimes get red sauce, sometimes green sauce. Sometimes they do the Christmas sauce, a little bit of each. And, they put extra chorizo in it, and they add what they want or take away what they don't want. And that breakfast burrito is definitely a must have. But I would honestly say the specialty French toast item,
Mm.
which changes every month. And I'm sort of mad that it changes every month because that Fruity Pebbles French toast last month, I still have dreams about. I'm still dreaming. It's like, wow, that is probably something I'll be dreaming about forever because it is scrumptious. It's delicious.
Well, I mean, you've convinced me. I will be there this Saturday with my son, and he is a pancake buff, and I am a breakfast burrito fanatic. So we will definitely be there this Saturday. And my next question is someone who's maybe never been to the restaurant, is there a website that you guys have, or what's the best way to be able to get your food, maybe if it's takeout or, where they can look up the menu?
Well, morningsqueeze.com, you can look at. You can also go to Instagram, our Instagram page, be all about the restaurant and pictures and food items and the menu. So I would either go to our website. Obviously, we're part of all the third-party delivery services that are out there, Uber Eats and Grubhub and Postmates. But it's one of those things where the pictures will do it justice, but when you come in, especially on a weekend, it's just the vibe, the excitement, the music. That '80s, '90s music, the excitement of the servers being loud and people just laughing and enjoying their mimosas and their pancakes and their crazy, omelets. And it's a fun experience. And it's one of those things where it's not just breakfast and you leave like more of a traditional American breakfast. It's an experience. It's like going out on Friday and Saturday night, but you're at breakfast.
That sounds like my jam because I cannot stay up past 8 p.m.
I
So
hear you.
mimosas in the morning are my type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. And like I said, I am a big fan of your restaurant, and I'm a little disappointed that I missed out on that Fruity Pebbles French toast, but very much looking forward to seeing what you guys have for your next big monthly special. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Miranda. I appreciate it very much. And please say thank you to Connor.